pulled back in to the sun by the magnetic field. But recently, in fact, just last week, there's been a phenomena that has been spotted on the sun called a coronal hole. Now, isn't that when the magnetic field isn't holding on to it and looping it back? What's this thing? What is a coronal hole?
Yeah, that's exactly right, Paul. So a coronal hole is.
Guys, so sorry to interrupt, but here is first contact. It's coming up right in the corner of the screen as you see it, the bottom right there. You see it coming from Svalbard. We saw it coming from Austria as well. We're seeing first contact from across Europe. This is an incredible day, I think. I'm getting our faces out of the way so we can see that in its full glory. There it is. There is that bite, and it's growing, and it's growing. And from Svalbard in particular, this is going to become totality. We are going to see the moon completely eclipse this sun. It is going to be an absolutely incredible experience. And you know what? I'm getting some weather reports from Svalbard. I'm over the moon about all this. Moon, pun intended. But hey, Svalbard is looking like such clear skies. Well, there's an adventure to be had from the Faroe Islands and all of this weather that we're having, all these clouds that we're struggling against. We are also being saved by our friends in NRK News who are providing this beautiful clear sky feed of what is probably going to be an incredible total solar eclipse. Absolutely wonderful.
Thank you very much for drawing our attention to that one, and we can see it growing. This is a live video feed, and the moon is gradually moving across. Matt, how long does it take for the moon to cross the face of the sun?
That's a good question, Paul. I don't know how long. How long? Do you know how long this eclipse will take?
The moon normally moves its own diameter distance in about an hour. So that means that we tend to have, the eclipse is going to be lasting for 2 hours. So first contact, it moves over to cover the entire sun and then moves off. And we're going to bring everybody live images of the whole event. Back to coronal holes, because you monitor a lot of solar activity with your observatory, Matt. So what happened with these coronal holes, and was it connected with the geomagnetic storm, which gave us such fabulous views of the aurora in Iceland?
Yeah, so these coronal holes, we think that we're over the solar maximum, and we're starting on the downside of that. And the coronal holes typically show up more often around now, like right after solar maximum is when there are a more frequent coronal holes. And they can be, basically they're a region on the sun that is less dense. And this less dense region has a lack of opposing magnetic poles. So that's oppositely charged polarity region. And because of the lack of these opposing polar regions, there's nothing to pull these huge magnetic field lines back towards the sun. So what they do is they exit the sun and they go far out into the solar system. And they provide a kind of a super highway, if you will, for the continuous outflow of high-speed solar wind. So when a coronal hole forms and it's facing Earth, that's when we can get really, really good auroras. And I think, as you know, this particular eclipse promises to have the potential for some really spectacular auroras while the eclipse is in totality.
Right. Just looking back now on this, Matt, we're just seeing this fabulous live feed from NRK News in Svalbard. This is a white light filtered image, so you mustn't look at the sun with your eyes like this. This is taken with a camera with a big filter on it, and we can just see, if we can get our faces out of the way, we can see the moon taking this chunk out of the moon. Nice. Out of the sun. Now, there are a few phases. What happened when the moon first contacted the sun there is called first contact. Matt, there are a few other stages, aren't there, of an eclipse that we can look forward to here?
Yeah, totality, and I think one of the most memorable for me was right after totality, was that, people call it the diamond ring effect, but that
Yeah.
first beam of light that just, illuminates the sky again, and it's daylight, is extremely dramatic, isn't it, Paul?
It is, and that's what I witnessed in that's what I witnessed in Kenya. I was facing the camera, so the sun was behind me on the eclipse, and I just turned around, and suddenly I saw the diamond ring, and it just literally took my breath away. Matt, thank you so much for joining us here. I know you've experienced the same thing that I have at a total solar eclipse, and really anybody who gets the opportunity to go and see a total solar eclipse, you'd say go, wouldn't you, Matt?
Oh, I would go to that above any other natural phenomenon. Yes, definitely.
Yeah. And you were saying from your own experience now that seeing a partial eclipse is absolutely nothing in comparison to seeing a total eclipse.
No.
They're two totally different phenomena. So if you've seen a partial eclipse, don't think you've seen a real eclipse. Matt, thank you so much for joining us. Matt Francis, Observatory Director at the Prescott Observatory. Matt, hopefully we'll see you soon for another live show from your observatory when you're going to give us some fabulous images of the sun and solar activity. So thank you for staying up tonight and joining us.
Thank you, Paul. Good luck out there.
Thank you
Thanks,
so
Matt.
much, Matt. It was really so fun to hear what you guys were talking about, and I was just jumping up and down in my seat pretty much the whole time as we're seeing this beautiful, beautiful image of the sun that's just really progressing. And again, thank you again to our feed partners and NRK News for providing this just gorgeous look of the sun as it just slowly progresses into a totality. And so if you like events like this, if you like fighting against nature and all the odds of the clouds and weather, we have more events like these, and also we have them for even more for our members. So if you think you like SLU like this, maybe consider joining. It's a trial offer of 30 days for just $1. Check us out at slu.com. But I have to take us to a very quick commercial break, and we will be right back counting down towards totality right after these quick messages. Stick with us. Hi, and welcome back to SLU's live broadcast coverage of the 2015 total solar eclipse. This is an absolutely incredible event. It's an event not to miss. I know my friends in the American time zones, you're staying up really late to watch this. We are so grateful that you're getting maybe a little sleepy on a weekday, but trust me, this is an event that's going to be worth it, and we have this incredible feed. We've just witnessed first contact only a few minutes back, and now the moon is encroaching onto the sun, and I'm going to put down another countdown clock. We've had a couple countdown clocks this evening, but this one is a particularly fun one. Have any idea as to what this one might be about, Paul? Oh, Paul's talking with someone else. This is actually a vision of when totality will occur. This is when we are going to have the total solar eclipse. This is happening in less than an hour. This is happening in just 50 minutes when we're going to see this incredible vision of this moon crossing in front of this sun. I'm really, really looking forward to it, and it's absolutely going to be incredible. But we also can't forget about our live feed coming in from the Faroe Islands. I wanted to get an update from you, Paul, on how things are going. How is the situation over there?
Well, we're seeing some nice sun rays coming down onto the sea, but the sun itself is obscured. But looking behind me, which is where the winds are blowing from, there are some blue patches. So we've still got plenty of time. We've got at least 20 minutes, I think, until totality here in the Faroe Islands. Totality in Svalbard is going to be a little bit later than that. As you say, the countdown clock's there. So yes, it's a little bit cloudy here, I'm afraid.
I see a wall of white. Is the sun somewhere there? Has it just disappeared? Has the sun just completely disappeared from the Faroe Island? Has it ran away? Has it given up?
Absolutely. I can guarantee you the sun is in this image. It's just hidden behind the grey cloud which is hovering over the horizon.
So we have an interesting dichotomy tonight, is that we have one feed where we can play a bit of hide and seek. We can try and spot the sun, see the little peaks, the rays of light that are coming through. This is our challenge. This is our adventure. This is where we're going. And then we have this feed that is absolutely being spoon-fed to us by NHK News. It's going to be a great, great adventure to see just all the phases of the total solar eclipse in such pristine clarity. It's going to be an absolutely gorgeous roller coaster to watch. And so we have the high stress, high stakes, and we have just the beauty in your face. I think it's great that we have both of these just to really take advantage of. And yeah, here's the other one coming up right here. It's absolutely beautiful.
An even larger chunk of the moon taken out, of the sun taken out. Wow, this is looking absolutely great from Svalbard. So,
it really,
but this
really is.
This is the advantage. I mean, we pull in feeds from around the world, because look, there are two places, Eric, in the world who can see this eclipse, the Faroe Islands and Svalbard. And we've managed to get feeds from both of them, and which gives us a little bit of weather redundancy for the cloud. So this is really looking good for us from Svalbard.
It is, absolutely. And here, I'm just getting a tweet coming in from Crystal, who's talking about it's 2:20 a.m. where she is, and she should be sleeping. But no, you should not be sleeping, Crystal. We are so grateful to you for staying up, for being awake with us. And it's really if this is the night to lose sleep over, yes, this is the one time a year that this is okay. Yep. We're giving you permission right here on SLU to stay up a little late and to enjoy your time here with us. Because this is an adventure. This is a roller coaster. And please, yes, do send us your questions via Twitter, and we're going to be happy to answer them on the air. And also, I wanted to bring to your attention a very special thing that our social media team is doing for you guys, which is that they have actually baked some cookies, some special solar eclipse cookies, which we have nicknamed Eclipses. And those cookies are going to be tweeted out at each respective phase of the eclipse. And so when the eclipse is just starting, we'll get the eclipse is just starting cookie. We'll get the totality cookie. We'll get all the cookies. And so if you like cookies and you like eclipses, think about watching our tweets on SLU, because that's going to be a fun roller coaster ride. And we also have a special eclipse cake on Facebook. So there's all the pastries, all the foods, all the desserts, and there's another little activity for people to enjoy if you like social media and you like sweets. So there's that. And at the end of that whole... Oh, go ahead.
I was just thinking, Eric, Crystal is staying up. She's probably going to get up late for work or for school or for college or wherever it is. Look, if anybody asks, just said, SLU told you that you could be late for work this morning because you were watching one of the most amazing astronomical phenomena known to man. Men and women have been watching this down the ages in amazement. And Eric, the flights here, were packed with pilgrims almost, eclipse junkies. That's what they're like. Once you've seen one total solar eclipse, you can't give them up. You've just got to keep going back for more and more.
It's really, it's so amazing. And something that I like to think about when it comes to eclipses is just how lucky we are in terms of comprehending them. Because we're seeing this thing cross in front of the sun in the night sky, but, thousands and thousands of years back, when we didn't have a conception of what eclipses were, of what orbits were, and all those different things, it was really an absolute... it must have been a crazy experience for all of a sudden the sky to just turn completely dark in the middle of the day. It's really, and we understand what it is now, but at the same time, it still holds that same unnerving feeling to it. It's just, this is a really, an absolutely majestic experience, is what I like to think.
It is, and I live very close to Stonehenge, Eric, and whenever I see even a partial eclipse, I always imagine back then what those people were witnessing, and trying to comprehend it, as you say, must have been virtually impossible. You know, it's when you witness these things firsthand, you know, it's almost a spiritual experience. You know, so no wonder they made sacrifices to their gods even to bring the sun back. So,
Right, because
wow, this image from Svalbard is looking fabulous.
it is. It's so good. And I mean, one thing that I like to think of with total solar eclipses is this period of transition, and that all of a sudden, you know, we have this absolute darkness, this absolute break in the paradigm of day and night, and then we get this incredible return to normalcy. But while we've returned to it, at the same time, it's an experience that is so it affects someone so fundamentally. It really changes them. People that have seen a solar eclipse in person, it's a memory that really, really sticks with them. It's something you can talk about years later, that they will recall with passion and visceral emotion. We were just talking to Matt Francis, and just hearing him speak about his experience of watching an eclipse, it's just, it makes me jealous, frankly. And I'm really looking forward to seeing this eclipse from Svalbard happen live. It's really going to be a gorgeous experience.
It is. Now, we are witnessing here, Eric, a very definite change in the lighting. We are still overcast, but I'm looking out over the sea. In fact, our images should be showing those. And the sun's rays are kind of hitting the sea, but there's something very peculiar about the lighting. It's almost mottled, you know. It's and that has only just been over the last few minutes as we get close to totality here in the Faroe Islands.
Yeah, we are so close to totality there, and it will be interesting to see if the sun is willing to peek out of the clouds, if we're able to see that one incredible spot. This is a war. This is a war with the weather, and I wouldn't venture to say if there were winners or losers, but maybe I should. But I hope that we're on the winning side. That's all I'm going to say about that. and so,
you know, we have got more than one opportunity here, haven't we, Eric? You know, and this is the marvelous thing, that we've got these feeds coming in from not around the world, but certainly in the areas where totality is visible and where partial phases are as well, including that lovely feed that we had from Austria.
And this, I think, is a great opportunity to just exemplify sort of how this all works in terms of how the shadow falls. We have this great visualization here from NASA that is absolutely gorgeous, and it shows what happens when the shadow of this eclipse falls on the Earth. And you can see how subtle it is. So here's what we see in Europe. This is this shadow that shows the partial eclipse in lots of different places. And then there's that dark shadow right there. That is totality. And we see it brush through right there, brush through the ocean, the North Atlantic right there. And that's what we're seeing in Svalbard. It's what we'd like to see in the Faroe Islands. And it's what we'd like to bring to you. And we also had partners in Austria as well. And so those are parts of Europe that are seeing the partial eclipse. And so there's this whole incredible interplay of geometry that's just, it's really a lot of fun to see. I keep just wanting to go back and forth with this button here to see how the shadow falls. It's quite a beautiful thing.
Eric, as we're closing in on totality here in the Faroe Islands, it might be worthwhile switching to our live images because I've just set the camera up so that you can actually see this very strange lighting across the ocean. It's most peculiar, most peculiar.
It's really going to be fascinating to see if we can get these totality images from the Faroe Islands, because I believe we are just about there. We are less than 10 minutes away from totality. Oh, that is quite a clearing. We're seeing some scenery there, aren't we, Paul?
Well, it is this very bizarre. I mean, there's a rain cloud there, but the actual sunlit part of the sea where we're looking, it's the most peculiar thing. It's light, but it's not lit. like so many things when we were talking to Matt, it defies explanation or description. It's the most eerie kind of feeling.
It really, it's like, I'm very interested to see if we're going to see it pop out here, but it's so dynamic. This is one thing I'm really enjoying about the Faroe Islands feed, is that there's so much that's happening here, and I really hope that luck is on our side with this one. Speaking of luck, we had an incredible show that we did a couple days back on St. Patrick's Day about the aurora. As Paul was going on his eclipse expedition, one stop he made was in Iceland, and we saw an incredible aurora show there. That was absolutely beautiful, and members can see that in the clubhouse. It's a lot of fun to see if you want to review that show. It was absolutely gorgeous.
Slew painted the sky green for St. Patrick's Day. I mean, the service that we provide, really, it's above and beyond.
We're very, very kind. We don't want anybody in the world to get pinched. That's why we wanted to make sure the whole world was absolutely covered. As we're talking here, I'm just looking through some of the tweets that we're getting in the Slew Eclipse tag, and I'm hearing about people that are watching live from their school. I mean, thank you so much for joining us here. We hope to provide you a entertaining, educational, and completely mind-blowing visual experience. As we're looking at multiple feeds, we have this feed of the Faroe Islands, where we're hoping we're going to see totality very soon. We have a feed in Svalbard where totality is going to be happening a little bit after that, about half an hour after that. And so that speaks towards the geometry of this whole thing, of when we can see that live, incredible view. So it's absolutely gorgeous. And what do you think are our chances here at this point, Paul?
I think it's probably 0 for seeing the actual sun come through, but what we are seeing is, in these live images, just how the whole environment is changing. The birds outside are probably starting to roost, right? As this, it's not like dusk. It really defies description, but it's obviously getting darker as more and more of the sun is covered by the moon, even beyond the clouds. But now those rays they're still kind of illuminating on the horizon, but you can see that it's a faint torch kind of light. It's very peculiar, very peculiar.
It is really amazing. And just as a juxtaposition between this feed and our other feed, I'm bringing up the Svalbard feed, which is really making a lot of progress here. Let's see.
Yeah,
that sun
good.
It's really been cut out of.
Yeah. So, Eric, you explained that the path of totality changes, and that's why in Svalbard they're not seeing the total eclipse at the same time as we are further west from the Faroe Islands. So this is giving us this kind of double chance. And my ambition is in the United States for an upcoming total eclipse in a couple of years' time. I want to follow totality across the country and broadcast that live on Slew. That would be really cool. But this is a fabulous image that we've got, isn't it?
And you hear of people that take plane rides during the eclipses, and they chase totality. It's so much fun. By train, by ship, by any sort of locomotive. Let's go out into space and see it as well. And that sort of brings to mind for me that really we do see eclipses from outer space, and that's an incredible thing to see as well, because it really brings to mind how delicate our whole environment here is. I could just bring up one example from stereo that saw the total solar eclipse a little while back here. This is an absolutely gorgeous view. So this is the moon crossing in front of the sun, and it looks so small, doesn't it? And even though the stereo is relatively at the same distance from the sun that the Earth is, it's trailing behind the Earth so much that the moon looks about 4 times smaller. And that makes just such a significant difference. And so the Earth is in just such a delicate position in terms of the Earth-Moon-Sun system to be able to see a moon that's just as big as the sun at very precise times. But that's not always the case, though, is it? There are certain times when we don't see a total solar eclipse, even though the moon passes directly in the center of the sun. Aren't there times like that?
Eric, I'm very sorry. Just give me 1 second. I just need to do something here. So,
Well,
sorry.
that's totally fine because I gave you a question I can answer myself, so I can just go ahead and talk with have an interview with myself, as it will. And so that's an eclipse that we were talking about a little earlier, like Phobos caused on Mars. This is an annular eclipse where you see an annulus being like a donut, a circle with the hole cut out of it, the center hole cut out of it, and it's so. There are times like that when you see when the moon is in the same location. It's right in the center of the sun,
Eric,
but you
I'm
see
sorry
the
to
circle
interrupt,
around
but
it.
we should go back to our live images again. We've
Are
got
we getting something exciting coming up here? Let's
we've
bring
got
that
some
up.
peculiar rays of sun hitting the sea now. It's really you'll see it coming up on there. It's about to come up for you.
Ooh, wow.
It's like a different color. If it's the next live image coming through to you. So take a look at this.
But yeah,
Camera
we're seeing
shutters
this
all around me are
fantastic
going
illumination on sort of the left side of the body of water. There is, it's really looking quite beautiful.
It's we need to see the next image. I wish I could share this with you immediately. That's going to be coming through to you any second now. The whole sky has turned this beautiful silvery grey color. It's just totally unlike any kind of dawn or dusk or any other kind of environment that you've been in. It is so alien, and now it's really getting very dark.
And this is getting so close to totality. Ooh, look at that. Look at that.
Yeah,
It's so
and
eerie. That's so fantastic.
it is. It's absolutely amazing. Oh, and the sun has just popped out.
I'm hearing
just
exclamations
adjust a
behind
few
you. Is
things.
everybody getting excited? Is this the time here? What's going on here, Paul?
I need to just be concentrating on getting an image, Eric. We just
Sure.
had this tiny glimpse of the sun so close to totality. It's just popped out between the clouds, but now it's gone back in again. So
This is the race. This is the time right now. This is when we're venturing towards totality, which
Wow.
is happening in
And
only 2
now-
minutes. It's coming. It's
now-
so close. And so
Tell me,
this
Eric,
is the
it has
time that we're
now-
going to race. This is the time that we're going to see if we can get this image. And even if we don't get an image of the sun itself, what it will do to this atmosphere, to this surrounding environment, is going to be so incredibly fascinating. We see already these just eerie patches on the sea and just the glow and the atmosphere and the environment, that it really speaks to how we see a total solar eclipse and there's things that are happening in the night sky. There's things that are happening above us, but they're affecting so much what is around us and what just
Eric, look
Yeah.
behind me. I'm in darkness. I
Wow.
mean, this room was illuminated 2 minutes ago. We are in absolute total darkness, but the sun is still behind the clouds, so we caught this one tiny glimpse, but it is now, it's like nighttime. It's totally dark here.
So that is it, everybody. From the Faroe Islands, Paul Cox is now experiencing totality. We are experiencing totality in a distant way, in a way that we can't exactly precisely see the sun, but don't you worry. We have a feed as well coming in from Svalbard. We'll be experiencing totality from that site soon after that, and that site is clear. But right now we are experiencing this thing, and it's the whole atmosphere is going dim for you. What is going on over there, Paul? What is this experience?
Well, I mean, it's just so quickly, Eric. Sorry, I'm standing up so you can't really see me, but you don't need to. It's more about the description. It was like about 10 seconds. It was like somebody switching off a dimmer switch. And it went from being quite illuminated to nothing. And of course, we've got 2 minutes of totality. So totality is now. So we've got 2 minutes of this. But I can still see over on the horizon there's a lit horizon, and that's because that's not experiencing totality yet. The shadow of the moon hasn't got that far yet.
Wow. This is, I mean, I while we're seeing this so removed, we don't actually see the sun here. Experiencing this through your eyes, Paul. I mean, just to be on the ground there, it's got to be incredible. Is everybody more quiet, or are they talking?
Wow.
What is the mood here?
Sorry, now it's just gone up. It's just switched back on again in exactly the same way that it switched off. And suddenly we've gone back to this silvery light coming out. I mean, if you believe in heaven, then the clouds that I'm seeing at the moment are it. I mean, they're just beautiful silvery color. We've got images coming through to you for this. And now the sun's rays have once again appeared on the horizon. So that was totality. I'm afraid from the Faroe Islands, we didn't actually see the sun, but we saw the amazing visual effect of what's going on around us here. Amazing. Wow. That's just,
it's so exciting to see. And well, so one thing about this is that it's such an emotional experience. And have you experienced totality before in person, Paul?
Only for 2 seconds in Kenya for the Africa eclipse that we covered there. And we have actually got a clear spot coming up here, so we need to keep our eyes open here. But of course, we haven't yet seen the end of totality because we've got this great feed coming in from Svalbard, and they've got clear weather, haven't they, Eric? So we're going to see totality there. When?
Yeah.
How long have viewers got to wait?
Well, so I'm just actually bringing up that, you read my mind. I'm bringing up that countdown clock right here. It's 26 minutes and 53 seconds away from totality, and we see that progression, that it's just about halfway done with, in terms of encroaching onto the totality. It started, and it had about an hour that we have to wait between first contact, when it first connects with the side of the sun, and totality. And so it's coming up so very soon, and we really it's beautiful to see this progression of just the moon just eating and eating and eating at the sun, and it's getting there so close. It's just about there. We're really looking forward to it. And having experienced totality now for yourself, Paul, today, how do you think it's going to go, or what more can we expect from Svalbard?
Well, we're going to be seeing the corona. We're going to be seeing prominences coming at totality from Svalbard. So we're going to take my description that I just gave there, my audio description of what happened here. We're going to see that and exactly what happens to the sun when it's totally covered by the moon. We are about to see the sun here, Eric. We're about to get a little bit of a clear window. So I'm going to just concentrate on getting us some pictures from here.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And so this is the battle, ladies and gentlemen. This is the fight that what's happened here is that, Paul Cox has been with this expedition team on this expedition to this distant, exotic island, and he's flown on multiple planes and faced multiple weather issues and set up all this equipment, and all that ends up the result ends up with this fight, this magnificent battle against the weather, and it's all you can do to roll with the punches and to see what you can absorb, what you can see in terms of totality, what you can't see. I've been on an eclipse expedition before. It wasn't a total eclipse expedition, but it was one where I could see an annular eclipse. It was one where I got to see the donut, essentially, and that was an eclipse where I was able to come along with Dr. Jay Paskoff's Williams College Eclipse Expedition, and it was an incredible sight to see in New Mexico. And there was just a layer of clouds that was right where the eclipse was happening, and it was quite a hard thing to see because we were all fighting with our cameras to try and see if we could get images of this eclipse as it was happening. And right during totality, that was when the sun hit the cloud bank, and it was just covered in clouds. But that was the time that we had to fight the hardest, and there were groups of people that were just fighting with their cameras and trying to make sure the focus was appropriate. And there were some people that, even though it was covered in clouds, they could see this sliver of the sun and the moon, this annulus, through those clouds. And it was beautiful pictures that they had received through their blood, sweat, and tears. And this is what Paul is going through right now. This is what he is fighting for. This is what he is looking towards. There are so many opportunities right now as this sun is going through the features of an eclipse. He has ample opportunity now to get some incredible shots in, and we're looking forward to seeing what may come out of there, as well as what is going to come out of Svalbard as well. We have this beautiful, beautiful, clear image. It's really absolutely gorgeous to see. I'm going to get our faces out of there again, because what we're starting to see right now is a sun that almost looks like a crescent moon. You know, it's getting into that phase where you just see the Cheshire Cat smile, this bright glimmer as it's being slowly swallowed by this moon as it moves in front of us in the night sky. But there is so much to talk about, so much to see. Very soon right now, we're actually going to be bringing on a very special guest, a film director, Dr. Duncan Kopp. He's going to be coming in with us right after this break to talk to us a little bit more about eclipses and eclipse expeditions and what he's experienced. And as somebody who has a lot of experience in terms of looking at the moon through the camera lens, like what are good ways to visualize this? What are good ways to look at that? And so as this story unfolds, I would ask you again, if you love these sorts of stories, consider joining SLU. We're here at SLU.com, and you can see more content like this just for a trial offer of 30 days for $1. So check us out and see if you might like to become a part of what we are. And so we will be right back with a very, very exciting interview just right after these short messages. Stay tuned. Hello and welcome back to SLU's live broadcast of the 2015 total solar eclipse. It's been an incredible rocky ride for us this evening, this morning, this afternoon, wherever you happen to be watching with us. But we are looking right now live at a feed coming out of Svalbard, courtesy of our partners NRK News, that have very clear skies, and we're looking for totality very soon in just about 20 minutes. And as we're counting down to this exciting moment, I would like to bring on a special guest who's going to join us. This is Dr. Duncan Kopp. Here he is right now, and he's somebody who has a PhD in astronomy. He knows a lot about this stuff. And as I mentioned before, he's well known for his work on In the Shadow of the Moon, a documentary about the Apollo program. And recently, he started his work on a DVD called The Earth, an HD Odyssey, which you can check that out on Amazon.com. But welcome to our broadcast, Duncan. I'm really looking forward to having a talk with you. There's a lot of exciting things I think we can discuss today.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. It's always a pleasure to be with you and the people at SLU. It's such great fun.
Oh, yeah, your audio is coming in a little soft, but thank you really again for coming on, Duncan. We're really appreciating this. And one thing that I thought I would ask you is, do you have an experience with eclipses? Do you have an expedition that you went on that affected you, that you had really a roller coaster ride with, like we're having today?
I have one. I've only once have I stood in the shadow of the moon, and that was August 11th, 1999, when we had a total solar eclipse, which brushed against the southern tip of the United Kingdom, which was stunning. And the only place you could really go and see it was in Cornwall, but also the Channel Islands, which are off the coast of France. So there were a group of us we thought, well, we sort of did our calculations. Where's the best place we could go? What's the possibility of cloud cover on August the 11th, 1999? With the best place we could go. So we chose this tiny little island called Alderney, and it's only about 3 miles across and about 1.5 miles wide. And that was where we were going to go and view the eclipse. And I have to say, it was just so exciting. I'd known about this eclipse for years and years and years since I was a little boy. And time just ticks away, and suddenly, before you know it, it's upon you. So we were all getting very excited about this. So we all departed and went out to Alderney. We had to go there by boat. It's the only way you can get there. And there were thousands of people there. And it was such a great party atmosphere. And everybody was on this tiny little island. And the weather wasn't that good. There was a lot of high cloud. It was slow-moving, sort of outer stratus cloud. So it was really hit and miss as to whether we were actually going to be able to see anything at all. But that didn't really deter us because, I mean, just the ability to stand in the shadow of the moon, I think, would be, an amazing experience. So we were pretty hyped up. And I remember
sorry, go ahead.
As it got closer and closer and closer, people got more and more tense. You could cut the atmosphere. It's quite amazing, really good party atmosphere. And then I remember this really strange experience where sort of out of the corner of my eye, you could look across the ocean and you could see this shadow coming towards you. And that was a really quite an oppressive feeling. It was quite scary. I mean, this thing is big. This is a big shadow, and you just think, where is that? Of course, you know what's going on, but you can imagine if you didn't know what was going on. And this thing sort of rushed over us, and just at that time, we could look up, and there was just enough sort of breaks in the cloud, or the cloud was thin enough for us to be able to see totality, and it was pretty amazing, I have to say.
That's absolutely, it sounds like such an incredible experience. And just to be packed in there with all those people, was the emotion sort of contagious? Was it a bit of a group experience?
It was nuts. It was absolutely nuts because everybody just cheered when this thing happened. And everybody was training their cameras on the sky and hadn't turned their flashes off. So it was like being at a rock concert when, your star walks out, basically. And all these flash bulbs were firing off and cheering and clapping. And it was very subdued and quite quiet to sort of begin with regards to the build-up. But as soon as we hit totality, everybody went bonkers, as I say. And Concorde was flying in those days. And we could hear the sonic booms of Concorde because Concorde was flying along the path of totality. People could pay, they'd chartered out Concorde to fly along totality. Wow. So you got a much longer duration of totality. So we couldn't see it, but we could hear it. And there were helicopters buzzing around, and, it was a really incredible event. And very short, it was about, I think totality maximum was about 2.5 minutes. So not dissimilar to this eclipse. But, you're just standing there and you see the corona, and we managed to see a couple of very subtle pink prominences, around the edge, and you just get a view that you just never see before. And it's that amazing thing where you think, well, the moon is so big, and then the sun is so big, but the sun's much further away, and you get this wonderful coincidence, and that's what it is, this perfect coincidence. Of course, it won't last forever, because the sun and the moon are obviously moving. The moon is actually moving away from us, so there'll be a time when we only have annular eclipses and not total solar eclipses, but you just think that's an amazing, amazing coincidence. And it was wonderful. Being there with all your friends and, having some beers and stuff, it was a really fantastic day.
It does sound like it. And this a little bit of a tongue-in-cheek question, but since it was right at the turn of the millennium and, it's a solar eclipse, was there any sort of fanatic fear about this event, because it is something that strikes people as so dramatic? Was there any Y2K related rumors about it or anything like that?
Y2K, isn't it funny how we forget those things? Yeah, Y2K, that was everywhere at that time. Y2K, the whole world's going to come to an end. It's a bit like the Mayan calendar in 2012. Y2K, I've not heard that for ages. It's really funny when nothing happened at all. But no, exactly. No, I don't think so. I just think I think we were all there for this really unique experience and a wonderful natural experience. And I think there was a commonality because we were all about to experience it together, and we all wanted the cloud to break. And it didn't break, but it was thin enough so that we could at least see what was going on. And I think afterwards, it's a really weird thing how nature can bring you together sometimes. And there were thousands of people on that island, thousands, crowded. You couldn't move. Unbelievable. And you know, a really good, as I say, sort of party atmosphere. So, no, I don't think anybody, you know, I don't think it was, there was any sort of worrisome feeling about it, or quite the opposite, maybe spiritual, because it's quite a humbling experience, I think, I would say.
It really is, and I think that I'm curious, in your opinion, as somebody who, you know, makes documentaries, as somebody who has this eye for film, what do you think is the best way to experience an eclipse like this? Is it behind a camera? Is it just looking at it? What would be your opinion on that?
Okay, that's a really good question, because when you're behind the camera, when you're directing, you're focusing on what it is you're filming. And I remember one of my first films was following a space shuttle mission, and I was invited to the VIP area for launch, and we had a slight issue with our camera crew, which actually meant that day we couldn't film. And I was pretty devastated and thought, well, this is awful. But, of course, NASA films it from every single angle possible and gets the best shots. So I sort of had time to sit back and watch this event, this fantastic shuttle launch. It was exactly the same with the eclipse. I would say don't worry too much about trying to photograph every single aspect of it. Sit back, let it wash over you, and really take it in and appreciate it, and see it not through the lens of a camera, but see it with your eyes. I mean, personally, that's what I would do. I know everybody wants to record it. In fact, today it's probably a lot easier to record than it was 10, 15 years ago. So you've probably got the best of both worlds. But for my money, you know, I would just sit there and let it wash over you, I guess.
Yeah, and I mean, you bring up a good point. In this day and age, everybody can and does really record it. And so if you don't record it and you sit back and enjoy it, you have this opportunity to sort of see what everybody else is bringing to the table and get that those visuals here as well. I mean, that's what we're trying to do here at SLU, is give you that opportunity so you don't have to travel to these far places, but you can see that from the comfort of your own home. But I think that's a really great sentiment. It's just sort of interacting with that experience as best you can. And I mean, we do have a couple of really, really great events that are coming up here. Like I was mentioning earlier on, there's the total eclipse of 2017 that is going to just zoom right through the U.S. and it's going to be, I think, a lot of fun for a lot of people that haven't had access to eclipses very recently. Do you have, you know, recommendations for how best to prepare? What would you do in terms of getting ready for, if you had another eclipse that you were going to, another 1999, without the Y2K? What might you do to get ready?
I want to go to the August 2017 eclipse because I think it's going to be amazing. And it was interesting because at the time, the 1999 eclipse was one of the greatest viewed eclipses in human history because its path took it through a very densely populated area of Europe. Now, exactly the same is going to happen in 2017. I was looking before we came on air at the path of totality, and it just tracks right across the middle of the United States. And so there's a great opportunity. And also it's August. You know, it's great weather. I mean, you've got a really good opportunity to get out and see this eclipse. To prepare for it, I think, well, there's a lot of information that's online nowadays. So you may want to go online and Google the eclipse and try and find out where the best place is to go and see it in terms of...
Oh, it seems like our free feed from Duncan froze there for a little bit. Oh, are you back with us? I'm hearing you a little bit now, Duncan. Yeah, it seems like he might have frozen up. But Duncan was coming to us from a very far place in terms of he was our representative from the Southern Hemisphere. He was coming to us over from Cape Town in South Africa, and it was really great of him to join us. I'm very grateful to him, even though the internet cut out at the end there. I think we had a really great conversation, and I think Duncan's insights really brought to home for us exactly what's so special about a solar eclipse is that he was talking to us about an eclipse that happened for him 16 years ago. This was an eclipse that happened so very long ago, but you can see from his eyes, the way he talks about it, his enthusiasm, that this is something that has stuck with him so fundamentally. It's not a memory that he's going to let go of. And so we here are approaching so very closely. We are just about at totality from Svalbard, courtesy of our partners from NRK News. That is just about there. Paul, do you see this sliver? Do you see this sliver getting even slivier than it's ever slivered?
We're inventing new words here. I love that. Yeah, sliverier. It is definitely getting a lot sliverier.
It's absolutely incredible. And so we have to go to a quick commercial break, but right after we get back, really don't miss this, we're going into totality. But yes, if you like events like these, if you like eclipses, if you like more than that, things that are happening in the night sky, consider joining SLU. We have a special membership offer, 30 days for just $1. You can get access to even more celestial events than you can see out here in the public, and it's just check us out at slu.com, see if you like what we're about, and see if you want to join. But yes, we'll be back in just 30 seconds, and we're just 8 minutes away from totality in Svalbard. Hello, and welcome back to our broadcast of the total solar eclipse of 2015. And ladies and gentlemen, we are just getting to the very peak, the very best part of the eclipse. We're just approaching totality. We have our countdown clock live on the screen here. We are just minutes away. And I got a message from our production team here at SLU. We just want to apologize to anybody who's gone to our membership page. It may not be live at this point, but we are going to, it's going to be coming live soon. So we hope that it won't impede on your enjoyment of the site or of our broadcast experience here. But thank you again for all your attention here, and let's look forward to totality. This is it. This is coming. Do you see this, Paul? This is absolutely incredible. It's getting so small. It's just so subtle, so gradual. Over the course of this hour, it is just eaten away as we blinked. It's quite beautiful.
I do see it, and as that was happening, as you were talking, the sun came out again here, and we are starting to see the last part of the eclipse here. You can see I'm in sunlight again. Look, the shadow.
Oh, yeah. So while we're getting really close to totality here, I'm just going to switch our feed into the Faroe Islands. Here it is. Here's the end of the eclipse coming over here.
No, that was first. That's a previous image there, Eric. That was first contact. So this was just when it popped out, and we just got to see that momentary first contact. So, at the moment we've got about there's about half of the sun is covered still. So Svalbard, as you say, look at this, only 5 minutes 36 seconds away. Now what they're going to probably do here, Eric, this is filtered at the moment. This image, they're taking it with a special telescope, a special filter, a special camera, and they have to filter out a lot of the white light. But as soon as totality falls, they've got to do what I've been doing. Every time you see me stand up, I've been taking on and off filters off the cameras. Because when we're at totality, you have to take those filters off, and that's when we will see this outer ring. Hopefully we'll get to see, if they time it right, we'll see the diamond ring. And then we may see Bailey's beads, these tiny little glistening kind of pearls all around the moon, all around the sun. It looks absolutely stunning. And then, of course, totality itself. And we get to see something that we only see during total solar eclipses, which is the corona. So I'm really looking forward to this, because they got cloudless skies. This is looking really good for us, isn't it, at Svalbard?
It really is. Like all of the, well, it took a planet and a moon and a sun to align here. The stars aligned for Svalbard as well, in terms of a really lucky break, in terms of just a beautiful sky that's showing us all of the aspects of a total solar eclipse, which that's the day that you want to be able to see the sun. And it's just about there. Are there particular features, like you listed a lot, you're talking about Baily's beads, you were talking about the corona. Is there something that you're particularly excited to see as we're counting down right now to totality?
Well, I think it's got to be any prominences, because those prominences, they're such a vivid color. And if we're lucky enough to see some, so these are these jets of high energy particles streaming off the sun, and they can be the most extraordinary colors. We've heard Duncan, we've heard Matt Francis from Arizona, you've heard me describe these amazing colors, during totality. And what was interesting, I think, Eric, was Matt said that viewing them through his solar telescopes, which he does for our live shows, seeing them at totality was totally different, and that's the message that you get from anyone that we're talking to here, that totality cannot be judged against anything else. So anybody in Europe who's seeing a partial solar eclipse, it's nothing. Matt is saying that is absolutely nothing in comparison to a total solar eclipse. So that's why we're bringing it to the world. If you're not either in the Faroe Islands or Svalbard, you're going to see it here.
And here we go. We're only minutes away, 2 minutes and 43 seconds, and we see this sliver getting so tiny and just disappearing, just little specks by little specks, and it's just getting so tiny there. It's an incredible moment. I can't really look away, because I think the moment I look away is the moment it's going to disappear. It is getting so close there to totality.
Eric, shall we leave our faces off the screen just in case they're going to whip this filter off and we may see the corona? We don't want to have our ugly mug.
That's a good idea.
Mug in the way.
So here we are.
Oh, wow.
2 minutes from totality in Svalbard. People across the world viewing with us in unison, something that couldn't be done decades before. We are doing something. We are sharing in a celestial event that is only in one place geographically, but for all of us, we can take part of it across the world. And that's such a profound experience. Join us today as we experience totality in Svalbard.
Beautiful, Eric. Absolutely beautiful.
Minute and a half away.
That's such a fine crescent, isn't it? Such a fine crescent.
It's just a sliver, just a moment away. And it just keeps disappearing slowly, and so quickly, too. It'll be gone in just a moment.
But then we get to see the really exciting stuff. This is wonderful, Eric.
Just the edge of a sliver. I didn't know a sliver could get that small. We are now a minute away from totality in Svalbard.
It's extraordinary how minuscule that is.
It is creeping, and once you think it can't get any smaller, it gets more small.
Going. I've never seen this, Eric. I've seen so many, so much footage, so many eclipses when this is happening, but I've never seen this tiny sliver. Now they're probably going to get ready to remove the filter any minute now, so we get to see the sun at totality. This is utterly amazing.
It's there. 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 And it's gone.
Right. Now, are they going to change the filter for us? Please.
We wait and... Oh!
Eric!
Oh,
whoa!
goodness.
That is utterly fantastic, isn't it? There's the corona. There are the
God.
prominences we've been talking about. Wonderful.
This is totality from Svalbard. And look at the side, the top left corner, you see hints of the Baily's beads right there. Isn't that right?
Absolutely, and we've got those are the Baily's beads just disappearing, but we can also see this beautiful corona, the outer atmosphere of the sun, which we can only see during a total eclipse of the sun. We didn't even know about it until people witnessed total solar eclipses. Absolutely stunning images from Svalbard of this total solar eclipse.
Ladies and gentlemen, this right now, we are witnessing in its total complete glory what is a total solar eclipse. The complete blocking of the sun from this moon, and it's just flowering. The corona is flowering outward, and it's an incredible, incredible sight to see. It's so, so beautiful.
Absolutely stunning. And
Just
I think
take that.
actually what we've got there, Eric, is we've got a couple of prominences that are showing up at 9 o'clock and 11 o'clock on the solar disk. Absolutely beautiful.
And we're silent right here because really the sun and the moon at this point are speaking enough for us. Just soak this in. This is beautiful. A total solar eclipse is that moment of hush, of awe, as you're seeing something so antithetical to what you've normally seen in the sky. It's this magical moment that brings you into a whole incredible other sphere of how celestial events work, how day and night work. Oh, there's the diamond
There we go,
ring.
the
It's
diamond
coming.
ring. Wonderful. Wow. And this is,
Absolutely beautiful.
that is wonderful. That's called third contact. That's when the moon just moves away from covering the sun, and that first brilliant spot of light from the sun returns to Earth.
This is what I would call a totality. We saw Bailey's beads. We saw prominences. We're seeing right now the diamond ring. And really, why it's called a diamond ring is, at first I didn't think of this, but you see it. It looks like it is a diamond ring. You see the diamond on the edge of it. The ring is around the whole sun. And so it's called what it looks like, essentially.
And that's going to get brighter and brighter until in the end it overwhelms the camera and they're going to have to put the filter back on. So make the most of these final moments of seeing that incredible view. Wonderful.
Absolutely gorgeous. And I'm betting they're putting the filter back on right now, Paul.
Yep, that will be it. That's what they would have done. So until the sun actually gets brighter, we won't actually see that, but we will see that thin edge, that thin crescent re-emerge. But what wonderful sights from Svalbard. Absolutely amazing.
And one thing that I wanted to share with you is a very special image that Matt Francis just showed with us as well, that shows a very great example of this diamond ring. Here it is right here. As we're experiencing, what totality is. This is another fantastic example of just that beautiful glow on the edge of totality. It's so, so gorgeous. It's absolutely beautiful.
Matt Francis is one of the best solar astrophotographers in the world at the moment. His Prescott Observatory in Arizona is set up specifically to observe and monitor the sun. He does a lot of science as well, but he also provides image feeds for us during shows as well, doesn't he, Eric?
He really does. He's been a very incredible partner for SLU, and we actually have an absolutely beautiful rendition of his coverage for us of the partial solar eclipse. That was a feed that was absolutely incredible that I can show you at this point while we're waiting for the changing of the filters. At this point, it sounds a little bit like changing of the guard there.
Yep, changing the guard at Buckingham Palace.
I am being told we are just receiving new images in from the Svalbard. Oh, they're coming in. Oh, yep, I see them right here. Well, let's bring them in. Oh, this is there it is. There it is. This is the sun coming out of this is the moon coming out of the sun, ending of totality, and we're seeing the beginning of the crescent on the other side of the road is what we're seeing. And so just to bring to mind to you one final countdown clock that we have. There's one final thing that's going to happen here, and that is the final point when the moon touches off of the sun. That is going to happen in 54 minutes. Stay with us and experience the total solar eclipse of 2015 from Svalbard, courtesy of our partners in NRK News. And man, this has been a wild ride tonight, hasn't it, Paul?
It certainly has.
It's and I'm just excited to see sort of what we are going to see onwards in the future here with this. But man, this was definitely a moment. I've been through a couple of slew shows back in the production studio, and I haven't quite experienced one where we fell into such a hushed silence. And it was not a bad silence. It was such a beautiful silence where we were just in awe of this incredible moment that happens in just a small spot of geography on Earth. The beauty of totality.
Sometimes you just have to soak up the view, and that's certainly a moment to do that at totality.
It's so true. It is so true. And this is really a great experience. And I'm thinking that we'll get a lot more insight into how these expeditions, how magical they are. Coming up in just a couple minutes, we're going to get an interview with Dr. Miguel Serra Ricart, who is the manager of the Observatory del Teide, and he's there with Paul in the Faroe Islands, and he's going to be joining us very, very soon. So that's going to be an exciting interview as well. It's really going to be a great experience.
Eric, I'm just going to have to leave my microphone for just a couple of minutes.
Oh, sure. Okay. I'll see you soon. So really, now that we have gotten through totality, this has opened sort of a gateway to another discussion on eclipses, which is all the features that we've seen and all the different eclipses that people have gone to. When we were talking with Matt Francis a little earlier on in the show, we didn't really want to show images of totality just yet because we didn't want to unlock that mystery. But now that box has been opened, there's some incredible views that we can show of past expeditions that Slew's gone on. So that's something that we're going to sprinkle in throughout the back half of this broadcast as we are watching and counting down to the end of this eclipse. The end being fourth contact, when those two circles are connecting but from the other side and are finally going to lose contact, and the end of the eclipse will soon occur. So there's lots of things to look forward to here tonight. It's been such an adventure so far, and I'm looking forward to seeing what pops up now in the future. It was really fascinating to walk through Svalbard and the Faroe Islands, and to see sort of the difference in what clouds can do to an experience. Because while the Faroe Islands were clouded out, I don't think that was necessarily a bad thing, because we have this feed of a very clear totality right here. From the Faroe Islands, we saw this sort of ghostly, ephemeral light that was littering the ocean, that really made some beautiful images. And it's something that you wouldn't see in terms of looking at the ocean every day. This was, while a solar eclipse is unique, so is the imagery it presents on the world below it. And we really got, I think, a great experience of that today that was incredibly profound. And in the same way that a hush came over us at Totality in Svalbard, it was a quieting, sort of awful experience to see what was coming to us from the Faroe Islands. It was absolutely quite an experience in the making. And so we're going to have to go to a quick commercial break. But before we go, I just wanted to again encourage you, if you like events like these, consider joining Slew. We're available for a trial run of 30 days just for $1, and you can see more celestial events like these. And so after this quick commercial break, when we get back a little bit afterwards, we're going to be having a great interview with Dr. Miguel Serra Ricart. And so lots of more things to look forward to. Thank you again for tuning in. It's been great having you here, great experiencing this with the world. And we will see you again after a few short messages. Stick around. Hi, and we're back with the 2015 total solar eclipse. This is a live broadcast and an absolutely incredible one. If you're just tuning in, we've had quite a roller coaster ride here. We have experienced first contact in the Faroe Islands. We've experienced weather crazy issues. We've experienced Svalbard coming to us with clear skies, courtesy of our partners, NRK News, and it's been such an incredible thing to see from Svalbard in particular, just because of how beautiful totality was. That was a total solar eclipse, something that happens so rarely. Let me get my notes here. When's the next total solar eclipse coming? It's coming March 8th or 9th, depending on the time of day, depending on the time zone that you're living in. And that's coming in 2016, so next year, and that's going to be viewable in the Southeast Asia region. And so if that's somewhere where you live, very lucky for you, because you'll get to experience a quite incredible event next year. But just now, we have all together shared with the world a really, really beautiful moment. And I'm so glad that you guys could join us in participating in this. Really, it's a celestial event. It's a beautiful thing. And
Eric, may I interrupt just 1 second? If
Sure,
we
yeah.
can get my live images coming back from the Faroe Islands, and we will see the last phase of the eclipse from here.
that would be really exciting. If we can get some more live images in from the Faroe Islands, that's going to be so fun, because we can bookend this eclipse with the Faroe Islands. That's what we can do, and that would be a lot of fun. And I also wanted to ask you a quick follow-up. Do you think Dr. Miguel is available for an interview at this point?
Yes, he will be, but in about 5 minutes, I'm afraid.
Okay.
He's been delayed.
Oh yeah, it's understandable, because there's some things that are really crazy in terms of going on here. It's been an absolute hullabaloo, I'm sure, over there. And well, so actually, what I'm getting right now is I think I'm getting some imagery in from the Faroe Islands. So this is coming to us. I'm gonna put that in here right now.
And Eric, I have Dr. Miguel Serra Arica here for us if we'd like to start our interview.
Let's start it with imagery from the Faroe Islands. Let's be appropriate with that. And so there it is. And thank you so much for joining us. Please do take it away.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to have to share my headset, so do forgive us. It's a bit clunky, but it'll work. So thank you. Miguel, thank you very much, first of all, for coming on to be interviewed at Stu.com. How was this eclipse in comparison to others that you've seen?
I think this eclipse is a very different eclipse because we are in an Arctic region. Okay. So if with this eclipse we have the possibility to see the corona, the eclipse, and also the aurora. Okay, so the two things never in the story of the astronomy, nobody has taken images of both phenomena together, corona and aurora. Maybe, who knows, maybe from Svalbard, someone has the chance to
maybe.
take. Yes.
So, were you disappointed with the weather?
No.
No?
Okay, with the weather, yes, but with the expedition and with the phenomenon, no, because the team works very well. 4 days ago we have a very big solar storm in Iceland, so we have seen beautiful auroras. So I am very happy. And here, okay, this is the nature, and okay, the weather is this. Right now we have sun, it's sunny, but this is an expedition to an eclipse.
Miguel, just to let viewers know, Miguel is a veteran eclipse chaser. He's been to, how many have you seen now?
This is the 12th.
12th eclipse. So the next one you're going to is Sumatra?
Yes, Sumatra, Indonesia, yes, but also will be a very difficult eclipse. The big eclipse will be the United States in 2017.
Okay. And just to put this in context, Miguel is actually the observatory manager where SLU's high altitude observatory is in the Canary Islands. So his organization, the EAC, the Institute of Astrophysics in the Canary Islands, and SLU work together on some of these expeditions, but also a lot of work in the Canary Islands as well. So what was your best eclipse that you've seen?
Well, it's very difficult to select one.
Really?
Maybe, yes, really, yes, maybe in 2003 we fly over the Antarctica and with an airplane. So maybe this was an incredible eclipse, but also from Zimbabwe, from Kenya, it was not possible to see the eclipse, but you remember that was incredible, the feeling around the eclipses. So a lot of eclipses from China. To me, the best eclipse was in Libya Desert, in the 2006. But okay, also this was a good eclipse.
So it sounds like it's difficult, like children, it's difficult to pick a favorite. You know, they're all different for different reasons.
Yeah, like children, it's very difficult to select one of the two. So yes, and also it's difficult to separate or to select between aurora and eclipse, you know. So it's very beautiful.
Miguel is referring to a wonderful display. Part of the expedition was to Iceland, and we saw probably a record-breaking auroral display, which is very linked, of course, because it's generated by the solar wind. So the energy from the sun was creating these wonderful aurorae. Was that the best auroral display you've seen?
Yeah. I also are observing auroras from 2000 year, and okay, this was the best aurora show that I've been in my life. It was incredible, you know. It was incredible. A lot of light from the auroras. But to me, the more impressive thing was the movements, the movements of the auroras in the zenith and the colors. It was possible the first time that we see the green color, the red, and sometimes the blue. So incredible.
It was amazing. It was my first aurora. But back to the solar eclipse. What's your opinion of this one?
Okay, this was a very difficult eclipse. The probability to see the corona was very low. But to me, it's okay. It seems that we split the team in two. Okay, in order to increase probability to see the eclipse. It seems the other team in the southwest of the island. It seems that we have corona images.
Okay.
Let's see.
So we will see some coronal images maybe on the Shelias website, and we'll have them on SLU as well. So Miguel, thank you very much for joining us today. Thank you very much for all of the work you do to organize these expeditions. And the next one, what's the next big expedition? Is it Egypt?
We'll try Egypt, yes. We'll try to broadcast alignments of the winter solstice from pyramids, yes. And I hope that SLUth will be there.
Absolutely. SLU and Shelios and Gloria will all be there. So thank you very much, Miguel. Fantastic. Thank you.
Yeah, that was really a great interview to experience, because really it's great to see the culture and the background of who is here at the Faroe Islands. Who are these eclipse hunters? Sometimes being in a circle of a lot of different astronomers, it feels like I'm the only one that was left out. Everybody else is coming to see this totality, but they're these really passionate people that really enjoy chasing these things. These are eclipse chasers that you know, they have it in their blood, and it's absolutely. Have you caught the fever, Paul? Is this something that you're going to keep on doing?
It will be, Eric, but you know, I've been looking at two computer screens, I've been looking at the back of cameras. I haven't had the ability to really take in properly the actual eclipse. I mean, the preparation here has been 48 hours non-stop. You know, setting up all the equipment. We've had the weather worries. We couldn't set up outside. So we've had, you know, all manner of things to deal with. So I think I haven't had you don't have a chance to take a breath. But you see, I'm not here. We're not here for us to witness and to take in that eclipse. We're here to try and share that with the people who aren't fortunate enough to actually be here in the Faroe Islands or in Svalbard, where they're still witnessing the partial eclipse phase of this total eclipse of the sun. And what a day it's been. And just to remind viewers, you know, it may seem a bit disjointed, but we've had to react literally to every single second. When the sun pops out, we have to align the cameras, we have to focus the cameras, we have to start taking the images. You know, there's just a huge amount. So apologies if it has been a little bit disjointed, and sometimes we don't seem to be paying as much attention as we like. It's usually because I've got one hand here for a camera, one hand here for a camera, two laptops in front of me, and Eric has exactly the same in the studio, would you believe, with Sloo's founder Mike Palucci, who are pulling in all these wonderful image feeds from all over. Eric, you guys are doing a fabulous job there.
Oh no, are you kidding me? I don't have a tons of computers around me. It's just actually me, a cheese grater, and a webcam. That's actually all that we have here at the Sloo Studios.
All this
and everything's going
you've
out.
been talking about. Yeah, you've been telling me for weeks. It's complicated. You know, there's a lot. Okay, you've blown the magic. We've seen behind Eric's curtain.
Yeah. There's no magic here except for what's in the night sky, the beautiful celestial events. They're doing all the work for us, really. I mean, there's not much that can top just seeing that beautiful totality. Like, my mind just keeps going back to it because it was so vivid, so dynamic. There were so many things happening all at once, and things that you're just not used to seeing. And it was just, I think it's something that I'll remember, even though I wasn't exactly there. And maybe that's going to be my 1999. Like it was Duncan's 1999, because it was just,
okay.
it was beautiful, absolutely beautiful. Yeah. And I'm looking forward to seeing the finality of this eclipse as it moves off the sun here. It's just 36 minutes away.
You know, it's kind of been an amazing day all around, and I hope viewers have stuck with us through the clouds when we saw that amazing totality from Svalbard. And you know, I think one of the things that makes it a little bit special as well, Eric, is you're seeing all of these wonderful phenomena and features that you've never seen before, but you also know that it's about to disappear any second. So there's that anticipation that you've got to soak it all in such a short time. Now, this is a fairly long totality today, at around 2 minutes. Some eclipses, the African eclipse that Miguel was referring to, which we covered with Sloo a couple of years ago, was 12 seconds. That was how long totality started. Now, if you may have even heard in the background here, at totality here, the cameras were going off. It was like a rock band drummer in here. And that's what you have to do. You have to just take the photos and worry about what's coming out afterwards, apart from people like us who have to actually worry about getting live feeds out to people as well.
It's I'm looking forward to going on an eclipse expedition for myself one day and just seeing all those things that you see. And I mean, you make a good point in that when you're in the middle of the flurry, you might not necessarily get to enjoy the magic, but sort of the adrenaline and the battle there, it's got to be so fantastic. And even though you're not necessarily being as involved with the imagery as maybe we are here just looking at our computer screens, but that's got to leave a mark on you. That's got to leave a really significant impact on you, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, even now, I'm seeing some gorgeous images coming from our live feed again. So if we can switch back to the Faroe Islands feeds, where we're just seeing the last little chunks of the sun, or of the moon moving away from the sun. So it really looks marvelous.
I'll definitely keep my eye on that feed, and as soon as we see new imagery coming in, I'll bring that in. Oh, I believe I am seeing what you're talking about there, Paul. Oh, man. So I'm going to bring that in really quick. Here it is coming in.
There it is. You know, and that just literally, you saw me as if you see me move to one side or the other. That's me grabbing one of the cameras to recenter it, refocus it, and to snap that image. But it's looking absolutely wonderful, I think. Absolutely wonderful, even at
And
this
so-
partial phase.
Could you talk a little bit about those colors, Paul?
Yeah, well, this is a white light filter, although you wouldn't believe it, would you? Some white light filters literally just show the sun white, all right? And you use them either for visual or for photography. You have to be a little bit careful because they are different for photography and for visual use. But you can also buy these white light filters that give this tint of color to it as well, and that's what this particular filter is doing. The filter on our live video stream, that is just a pure white light filter. We were hoping to have H alpha on that, but we weren't able to because unfortunately the H alpha takes a little bit longer to set up, and you really need just perfect clear skies to be able to do that.
Yeah, I think it's creating such a beautiful effect on those clouds. It's really, I mean, the weather has sort of conspired against Faroe Islands in a way, but at the same time, we're getting such, unique images, really,
Yeah.
that are, it seems to me a little bit like works of art. Absolutely incredible. Oh, and so here we're seeing the clouds being a little bit more nasty and completely covering out the view there a bit. But it's been so touch and go, hide and seek, like I was talking about earlier. This is hide and seek. This is a game we're playing, a challenge we have, and alongside that challenge, we do have our more easy viewing, our beautiful, beautiful feed coming in from Svalbard, courtesy of our partners, NRK News. So that, I think we have the two experiences right where we need them. It's been a fun night tonight.
It is. We've got here in the Faroe Islands, we've got just a little under 10 minutes left of the partial phase. And what that's called, when the moon finally leaves the solar disk, that's called fourth contact. So we've been quite lucky, Eric. We witnessed first contact here in the Faroe Islands. We just missed contact 2, which is when it starts totality, but we just caught it after third contact, and we saw some beautiful sights there. And then, of course, we will hopefully get fourth contact when the eclipse in the Faroe Islands is officially over. But it's not going to be over for us because we've still got these fantastic live images coming in from Svalbard. The only other place on Earth that you can see this from land anyway. So
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing what tricks we maybe have up our sleeves for this last battle in the Faroe Islands. It is, let me calculate, the 7 minutes away from fourth contact, it being 10:48 UTC, when the Faroe Islands will see the last of their eclipse. And oh, look at our heads. They're in the way of Svalbard. What are we doing there?
they are. Yeah, come on.
But as we're talking, we see this gradual procession. I mean, one of my biggest fascinations in terms of the total solar eclipse is just how it has these gradual moments, and then all of a sudden everything comes together with totality. So we see this gradual climb from first contact as the moon just glides so very slowly, gradually across the sun for about an hour for this particular eclipse, and then there's just this moment of awe and just incredible dynamic views. And then we have this slow move off of it as well, this gradual receding off into the distance. I think it's an incredible composition, what the sky is doing right now.
Yeah, and I think there's a lesson to be learnt here for viewers when they get to see an eclipse up close and personal, or another show by Slew. Never give up, right, on a solar eclipse, because so many eclipse expeditions have seen the parting of the clouds just in time to seize totality, and that's exactly what happened in Kenya for us. Everybody thought it was over. We were hit by a dust storm just as the eclipse started. We managed to get 2 images of first contact. Then we were having to hold down all of the tarpaulins, the tents that were covering us in the middle of the Kenya desert to stop everything blowing away. We had to put all the equipment away. But then we carried on going, and just the last fraction of totality, bang, there it was. And I'll tell you, Eric, for 2 seconds, that's all I saw it for. But it was possibly one of the most emotional moments in my entire life. It's absolutely extraordinary how a total solar eclipse affects you emotionally. And just to remind people, if you're seeing a partial eclipse and you're thinking, well, what's so big about that? A total solar eclipse is so different. We've heard it from our other guests, haven't we, Eric?
Absolutely, yeah. I've had a bit of a chuckle in the production studio on some past shows where we've been talking to guests, and it's been like a partial solar eclipse, and we'll be asking them, "Isn't this exciting?" And they'll be like, "Yeah, it's exciting, but it's like it's really great if you've never experienced an eclipse, but once you've seen a total solar eclipse, there's no way that sort of amazement can hold for a partial solar eclipse." So I'm sorry, audience out there in the world, we've spoiled you a little bit showing you a total solar eclipse. You're not going to be able to enjoy any other eclipses. You only can see total solar eclipses now. This is the verdict from SLU. You take it or leave it. But we're seeing right now here the work of a very intense effort from the Faroe Islands to witness fourth contact. This is right about the time when the eclipse is going to end, when the moon is going to leave the surface of the sun. What do you think our chances here, Paul?
Well, it's pretty good at the moment. I'm getting some good images at the moment. Still very easy to see the little chunk taken out of the sun by the moon as it leaves the surface. I'm going to try and zoom in on this so that we can catch the very moment. Oh, there's a lovely shot going to come up for you there. So, I think it's pretty good. It's pretty good. We've got a few minutes to go, and people here even get excited because this is the end of the tension, So here we go. Here's the next one, and we're just seeing this tiny, tiny sliver.
It's so close. So totality or fourth contact is going to happen at 10:48 UTC. That's in just about 3 minutes is what we're going to see. The end of this eclipse from the Faroe Islands. But keep in mind, that's not the end of the eclipse for us at this point in time here. We still have our feed from Svalbard, which is a significant distance away from totality here, or from fourth contact. I'm mixing up my terms. But there's our next image coming in. They're sliding in so beautifully right now. I'm loving the color and just the interaction of the clouds with this celestial event. It's just absolutely gorgeous. Keep up the good work over there, Paul. I'm sure I haven't said it enough. You've been doing some really hard work over there.
Well, it's been it hasn't been easy over here today because we have had to react, and I think that has reflected in we've had to, Eric and I have had to jump around to try and grab images from here or there, but it's kind of been fun because of that, and kind of exciting because we've never known what the next minute is going to hold.
I think that speaks to the attraction of a total solar eclipse, because it's not what you expect. And doing a total solar eclipse show on what you would expect, I think, is a little antithetical to the spirit of what this event is. It's something so foreign to what is normally in a human life, in a human day. And so it's really something that I think we were playing towards a celebration of the total solar eclipse by swinging with the unpredictable and being there at every moment to see something new, to see something exciting, to see the weather react to us, and to see us react to the weather. It was really, I've had a lot of fun here tonight, and there's still a lot more to go. This eclipse here in the Faroe Islands is just about over. We see that tiny sliver of the moon just on that far left side. We are so close, so very close. And how is it going over there in terms of, is it still looking clear enough for us to achieve this moment of fourth contact?
No, it's just clouded over, but you should have another image on top of that one. So
I think we have an image just coming in right now.
The sun is coming out again. Every time we think it's going to do one thing, it does the opposite.
Oh, it's so subtle. You see I'm just squinting here, just on the corner, the left corner there. There's just the little sliver of the moon. It's so subtle.
It is. And that'll be it now, Eric, from the Faroe Islands as far as live images are concerned. But we've still got the feed from Svalbard. Yay.
But I think we should just step back for a moment, though, and just appreciate Faroe Islands. This was a total solar eclipse that we saw from this remote island off the coast of the North Atlantic. We did not see all of it, but we saw so much of it, and so much of it uniquely in how it was interacting with the weather. And so this was a great experience. Thank you, Paul, for traveling here. Thank you for sharing this with us. This was absolutely glorious. Really, a really great experience.
Yeah, well, it's always a privilege to do any of SLU's shows, because we're passionate about this stuff, as you can tell, and we love bringing live astronomy to the world. This is not our only shows, is it, Eric? We don't just do total solar eclipses, but there's always something new every week. But today has been all about probably what is one of the most remarkable astronomical events that humans can witness with their own eyes. And those who haven't been lucky enough to maybe be here in the Faroe Islands or in Svalbard, the only two places where you can see totality, hopefully we brought you a little flavor of what a total solar eclipse can offer. And of course, throughout Europe, people are still seeing the partial solar eclipses, because it's not just the total eclipse that people can see today, but only two places can see it. But the rest of Europe, they've been getting partial phases. From Scotland, I think, had 94% or something of the sun covered by the moon, going down into Mediterranean, to Rome, and all of those southern Mediterranean countries. I think you were talking about a 40% coverage. We were hoping to bring some live images from the SLU High Altitude Canary Islands Observatory, where we were also going to experience a partial eclipse, but unfortunately we had a bit of an ice storm there, so that kind of stopped our images there. But I think we've done pretty well here. We captured first contact, last contact, and most importantly of all, that beautiful corona and the diamond ring from Svalbard. They were
And don't forget those
perfect.
Bailey's beads.
Bailey's beads, great. Always love them. That's how we can see mountains and valleys on the moon from Earth. How cool is that? Yeah,
Oh,
it's
so great. It's been an absolute joyride from the Faroe Islands. And so this does conclude our chapter with the Faroe Islands, but don't leave just yet, because we still have the end of the eclipse from Svalbard to look forward to. But we're going to have a quick commercial break before that. Again, if you enjoy adventures like these, consider joining SLU, becoming a member. We have lots more for our members to enjoy. That's just a trial membership. It's 30 days for just $1. Go to our website, slu.com, see if you'd be interested in becoming a part of our community, because that's what we are. We are a community observatory. So stick around for Svalbard. We're going to be right back after these short messages. Stay tuned. Hi, and welcome back to SLU's live broadcast of the 2015 Total Solar Eclipse. This is quite an event to be had. There's lots of different fun stuff to be had. And now we're going to be going to Svalbard for the end of the eclipse. This is our final countdown. We're having it here just a little less than 20 minutes away, and we see the moon very much leaving just the center of the sun here. It's a beautiful, beautiful moment.
What's been your highlight, Eric, of the day so far?
My highlight of the day, I mean, I suppose I'm going to be a little bit common about it and say that the totality really was just so beautiful. That moment in time that we were able to just marvel at what this eclipse was for us. And it was just absolutely gorgeous. One thing that we can do is we can show right now one of the eclipses from the past that was also a total solar eclipse. There's a really incredible feed that we have from a SLU event in the past. This is the total solar eclipse from Gabon. This is a really great event for us that I think that a lot of people enjoyed way back then. So here it is coming up.
This was the African eclipse a couple of years ago. In fact, it was the last total solar eclipse. I think it was November something or other. But we had two teams. I went with the team who are here, the expedition here, the EAC, our partners in the Canary Islands, and we also had another team in Gabon, which was on the west coast of Africa. They were in the middle of the jungle to do this, Eric. They used satellite communications to transmit these images to us live, and it was an absolutely unforgettable eclipse from so many points of view. It took us 4 days, would you believe, to get to our location on the shoreline of Lake Turkana, which is actually the cradle of mankind. It's where the oldest human remains have been found, or hominid remains have been found. And look at that diamond ring that they got from Gabon. Truly amazing eclipse.
Absolutely gorgeous. And then we see everything turn to dark.
And the corona, the outer atmosphere of the sun, which is 1,000,000 times fainter than the rest of the sun. So we normally can't see it. It's normally blinded by the rest of the sun. And before we had space telescopes, this was the only opportunity where we could see the outer atmosphere of the sun, the corona.
It's really hard to talk during the totality because it's so gorgeous. You never see the corona, and then all of a sudden it's right there, this beautiful flowering image. Here it is slowly coming out of totality. See the beads on the other side. Oh, diamond ring. What a view. Just so brilliant. It's absolutely gorgeous. And the sun just grows and grows from that moment of quiet darkness. What a sight to behold. And really, the total solar eclipses, they're so majestic in that way. And but one, you can make the comparison. Like, this is an example that we took of a partial solar eclipse, and it's something that we did with Matt Francis. This is one of our recent views with him, where you see his incredible imagery of the sun, and we see the moon eat away at the sun, but it doesn't have that same magic to it. But it's still, seeing the sun like this is absolutely incredible. Seeing this movement. And so you see, for a partial solar eclipse, it doesn't go through the center of the sun. It marches along, just along a corner. Until it finally marches off again. And here's an example of really some just amazing features, because we talk about Matt as a solar astronomer, and we're able to focus up on some incredible features of the sun. And that's a beautiful image. We see the dynamics, just the dynamic nature of the sun, just the side of it, the edges. Such a beautiful, beautiful feed. And since we're talking about all the different types of eclipses that there are, we got through the partial, we've seen a total. Here's an example of SLU's version of an annular solar eclipse that happened a couple years back. And so you see, the moon isn't quite big enough to cover all of the sun at that point, even though it does move very close to the center. And so that's a unique color, isn't it, Paul? What filter would you say that is? Oh, sorry, Paul, we're not hearing you coming through, but it's really quite a unique one. And oh, there we see it up close. Oh, that's beautiful. And so, while these don't rival the majesty necessarily of the total solar eclipses, they do have some absolutely incredible features to them. And so here we are going back to our live feed of the total solar eclipse, the end of the total eclipse, coming to us live from where? From Svalbard. Here it is popping up right there. And it's coming to very close to its end. Here is our countdown clock coming up. We are only 12 minutes away from the end of this total solar eclipse. It has been quite a wild ride indeed. This has been an incredible event, and I hope that all of you watching around the world have really enjoyed this. Really, absolutely. Doesn't this look gorgeous, Paul? Oh, I'm sorry, Paul. I still don't think we're hearing you here. But this is really, really an incredible sight to see, and we're just seeing the end of the eclipse as we're slowly creeping off the edge of the sun here. It's been a long day, but it's been a great one, really, because we've seen feeds from across the world. We've seen feeds from Svalbard. We've seen feeds from the Faroe Islands. We've seen feeds from Austria. It's really, we've been all over the place and just seeing little peaks and nudges of the eclipse from different perspectives. It's been quite a story to tell, and we only are very much 10 minutes away from this total solar eclipse coming to an end. But we have to go to a quick commercial break, but we'll be right back after these short messages. Stay tuned. Hi, and welcome back to SLU's Total Solar Eclipse, a broadcast of 2015. We are just about reaching our end. See there, we just went into single digits in terms of the minutes left of our last feed of the total solar eclipse. So we just see the edge of the moon there, right on the left side. It's so close to its end. It's really, really getting there. Any last things you're looking forward to, Paul?
Well, sorry, can you just get rid of that feedback? I think just a reminder to viewers in Eastern Europe, that their partial phases are going to finish a lot beyond this one. Sorry, I've been out for 48 hours. My sense of just about everything has failed. But the partial phase is going to, the further east you are, the later the partial phase will finish. So.
Yeah, and so we've seen this creeping progression. So, is the Faroe, a quick geography quiz, is the Faroe Islands east or west of Svalbard? How can you tell? You can tell because of when the phases ended, what particular times they ended. So they're ending later for Svalbard. So that means it is...
Sorry, it was a question, was it? No, that's east.
yeah.
It's east, yes.
I was hoping for you to finish my sentence, but yeah, you did.
My sense of west and east with our slight time delay is difficult to synchronize that kind of thing. Yeah. So.
Right. So we did it. We succeeded. I say we succeeded.
But the other issue with this, of course, is that Svalbard, although it had, and it's actually been borne out today, it had a lesser chance of cloud, but still actually quite a high probability. Frankly, the North Atlantic at this time of year in March, I mean, it's just crazy to expect to see any kind of sunshine. So they did have a slightly lower probability of cloud than the Faroe Islands where we are. But the problem was with Svalbard is that the sun was a lot lower because the eclipse was already underway at dawn, right, in Svalbard. So the sun was lower for them. And that does affect imaging, but thankfully it was pretty good because we were still able to see the corona. It may have been what tinged the corona with that kind of yellowish color. That could have been caused by a couple of things, but one of them could be atmospheric.
It's just getting so close now. I'm looking at that countdown. We have 7 minutes remaining, and this is I think this is a good time because if you stuck around for this eclipse for this long, I think I can guess at this point that you're really interested in eclipses. And I have here just a couple suggestions for some eclipses to look forward to in the future. The next eclipse being not a solar eclipse, but a lunar eclipse that we're covering on SLU in just a few days, actually. On April 4th, this coming April 2015, we're going to have a total lunar eclipse where we're going to be having some incredible feeds from Australia. That's the part of the... that's the region where it's going to be visible. And so we have that eclipse, and also in 2015 of September 13th, we're going to have a partial solar eclipse. This one's a unique one because it's going to be visible from the bottom tip of Africa and of Antarctica. And so it's going to be some that not very many people will be able to see, but we're going to be trying to bring that to you live as well. And, I'm talking about a partial solar eclipse just as after we've ragged on them. But really, they're not the worst thing in the world. They have their incredible benefits to seeing those as well.
If there's not a total eclipse, then a partial eclipse is okay. But you mentioned the lunar eclipse in April. Now, of course, there's always a lunar eclipse that accompanies a solar eclipse, and that's the one. It's going to be a different phase. We're watching tonight. This is the only time when you can see a truly new moon. What we're seeing there is a truly new moon. We can't see it normally because it's so close to the sun, but when it passes in front of the sun, we see the new moon. But with the lunar eclipse, it's going to be at the full moon. So the moon's going to be on the opposite side of Earth to the sun. And that's when the moon falls into Earth's shadow. And that is actually really quite an exciting event. We always do them really, really well at SLU. We get these gorgeous colors coming out, usually kind of beautiful peachy pinks and reds. That's what happens to the moon. Sometimes you even get a blood red moon. So that is going to be a really cool event. So anybody who has got through this far with this fantastic show, you're going to enjoy the lunar eclipse as well. What was the date again? April 4th?
4th. Yeah, you got it. And so, one follow-up question I have for that is, why do they happen in pairs, the solar and the lunar?
Well, because the moon, it's a little like asking, why on every single new moon isn't there an eclipse? Surely the moon goes around and it would pass in front of the sun all the time. No, it doesn't. And the reason why is because the moon's orbit in relation to the Earth is at a 5-degree inclination, which means that usually at new moon, the moon passes either to the north or the south of the sun, so we don't get an eclipse. And likewise, on the other side. But when the moon is aligned to give us a solar eclipse, it's also aligned to give us that lunar eclipse a couple of weeks later.
It's really it's something that I'm looking forward to. It seems like it's going to be an absolutely gorgeous time. And so we have the lunar eclipse coming up. We have the partial solar eclipse coming up. And of course, I've sort of been mentioning throughout the broadcast that we have the total solar eclipse coming up in 2016 and in 2017. It's something that we can look forward to in Southeast Asia in 2016 and also in the United States in 2017. And I thought I would admit a fun fact about myself is that I'm very happy in particular about the 2017 total solar eclipse because I'm somebody who lives in America, and I'm also the day of the eclipse is my birthday. So the sky's going to be celebrating me on that day. I'm really looking forward to that. Double time.
Yes, big party. And, you know, one of the things, Eric, as well, to remind viewers here, is what we do is we bring these events to the general public, but we also bring extra content to the SLU members as well. And SLU memberships actually make this kind of thing possible. But what we're hoping to do, we've kind of brought people along for the ride. We've shown videos and a blog to bring people along on the expedition. What we're really aiming for, and I'm hoping we can do this by 2017 for the total solar eclipse in the USA, is to bring SLU members all to the same place. So we'll either go camping in the desert to witness the total solar eclipse, or we'll hire a whole hotel to be stuffed full of members. What are we looking at? That's the Faroe Islands. How close are we to Svalbard? Has it ended yet?
We are very close. There's apparently some connectivity issues over at Svalbard, but there's about 2 minutes remaining until the end of the eclipse, so we'll see if we can get that back. But as we're standing here right now, we're seeing the magnificence of just the weather and how it works with the sun and the clouds over in the Faroe Islands. It's still quite gorgeous in my opinion. Are you still taking images over there, Paul?
I had literally a minute ago. I stopped because there was a big bank of cloud. That's probably the last one that I took. So the cloud kind of rolled over and looks like it's going to be set for a short period of time. So.
Well, this has just been such an exciting day. I'm over the moon with what we were able to see. We were able to see this incredible spot of totality. We were able to see some incredible interactions between just weather and what was going on there. Oh my gosh. Oh, and I think we're getting our Svalbard feed back. I'm looking into that just now.
That'll be just in time.
Oh, there it is. There it is. There it is. So we're just
that's
approaching
the
end of the eclipse, just right here.
That's not the end. That was the beginning of totality, wasn't it? So that's I think they've stepped back in time. So there is another effect. There is another effect of total solar eclipses that we didn't know. We go back in time 2 hours.
It's just something that happens in very specific time zones and very specific geographic region. I think that one's specific to Svalbard and sometimes Narnia. Those are a couple that it happens with. So
are you ready to go for another 2 hours then, Eric?
I think so. Rumor has it that this eclipse broadcast might not ever end. I think we're all here. We're all part of this international community enjoying the celestial event. But we're going to keep enjoying it for quite a while. It's not going to happen.
The island of sheep is my new home. Okay, I can set up shop.
Oh, this has been really great. I'm sorry, I have to go to a quick commercial break, but we will be right back after these short. Hi, and welcome back to SLU's 2015 Total Solar Eclipse Expedition. What we have now coming in from Svalbard is, yes, a time capsule, and we're getting from them that their broadcast has ended, but they want to give us a replay of totality. So this is totality as it's just about to happen, as it happened beforehand. And so for those of you who haven't seen it yet, or for those of you who want to experience the magic again, here it is coming to us like it has just an hour before. We are seeing, again, this ring just getting smaller, smaller. Now I'm going to get our faces out of the way because they are not going to compare with what you're just about to see. And it's just about there. We're just about to see some magic happen. And boom. Look at that. This is the moment. This right here is the moment. And here we are, coming out at the end of the eclipse, the totality. You see the light creeping out. There's the diamond. A period of absolute brilliance. And there we have it, ladies and gentlemen. That was Totality, played again from our incredible partners in Svalbard. And that is our broadcast of this total solar eclipse. Thank you so much for sticking with us. And really, I think it's been an absolutely incredible day. There's been so much that's happened and so many really unique images that we've been able to see and experience as they happened around the world live. Really, it's been quite a day for the books, hasn't it, Paul? What do you think? Have any final thoughts on this day, on this event, on this experience? I mean, as you've been through this whole eclipse, you've done all this work, you've traveled so far. What has this been for you?
A lot of hard work, very tiring, but incredibly fulfilling. And it's always rewarding doing this stuff. It doesn't matter how hard the work is. While we were just watching that replay, I was just checking my email, and I got people like Paris Faith, Catherine, John, another Eric actually, emailing saying how much they've enjoyed the coverage, how much they enjoyed some of the information that we were giving, the images, and they were saying that, you know, the weather conditions here, having to fight that, built the excitement. And I agree with that, you know. It's been, a long day, but great fun. And it's always great to hear from members. And I do have some thank yous before we do finish off. Eric, I have just been given a message saying that we've got some fresh images going to be coming in from the second team of the expedition in the Faroe Islands, and all of those will be published in the SLU Clubhouse, so members can watch those, have a look at those. And we're also doing, I think you're going to talk about the follow-up show. But could I just do a few quick thank yous? You know, it's not an award ceremony list, but just a short one. First of all, obviously the Institute of Astrophysics of the Canary Islands. They're co-leaders on this whole expedition. They're our partners at the Canary Islands Observatory. In particular, Shelios Gloria, special mention to Dr. Miguel Serra Ricard, who joined us on the show. Our partners over at space.com always do a great job, and some other people who we were dealing with quite a lot for this eclipse, AccuWeather.com. They've been great. And also, our hosts here have been incredibly generous. They are not associated to astronomy, but it's the Center of Maritime Studies and Engineering in Tórshavn. And huge thanks to them. And of course, everybody back in the USA on the SLU production team.
It's been quite a day.
Thank you for indulging me.
Yeah, and I mean, of course, we can't forget to thank you, Paul, for all that you've done for this eclipse and all of your efforts. It's been so great. And I also want to thank our guests that have come on this show. All of them have had such great contributions to what has been just a very full broadcast. Our feed partners from all over the world. It's been such an incredible day. And you were mentioning that, yes, we're going to have a follow-up show for people who have not had enough of this eclipse. We're going to have more from the expedition team, images we weren't able to show today that will be coming into the clubhouse. And so if you want to become a member, experience that show and many more, 30 days for $1. Check it out on SLU.com. We're also going to be getting some images in from our partners at Bader Planetarium. They traveled over to Svalbard, but they didn't have the equipment to go live. But they're going to show us some images after the fact we can share with people in the clubhouse. So that's also a possibility there. So there's that show that is coming up on Saturday at 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific. And we also have, of course, as I mentioned earlier, our Total Lunar Eclipse show that is coming up on April 4th for everybody to enjoy. You don't need to be a member. It's out there for the public, and it's going to be a lot of fun. A show very, very similar to this in that we're fighting through the phases and seeing some incredible dynamic imagery for a very, very full show. And so we have that, and we really appreciate you tuning into this broadcast. It has just been such an incredible adventure. And I also wanted to say, if you have stuck around for this long, you might even want to consider our Citizen Astronomy tier at SLU. That's a place where we actually have telescopes in the Canary Islands and in Chile. They're remote
telescopes.
But they are real telescopes that you can control from your computer wherever you are. You can make reservations, and you can get live imagery of the cosmos just through access to our telescope network. So if astronomy is really your passion, consider that as well. And so, again, thank you so much for joining us. This has been a great day, and I hope you all have a great day as well. I hope you're not too tired from staying up too late for this eclipse. But really, yes, it's been an adventure. And what we'd like to leave you with is actually a video of a couple of SLU's adventures. This is a little bit about what we're about, and so you're welcome to stay with us. But this is the end of the broadcast, and thank you again for joining us. This has been Eric and Paul for SLU.